Hey there, folks. You can call me Wild Philosophy, and today I will be giving you all a brief little introduction to Edgar Rice Burroughs' At the Earth's Core. I'm doing so because it was one of my New Year's resolutions to read 52 books this year, and what with the coronavirus quarantine, it seemed like an excellent opportunity for me to contribute to the infinite cesspit of filth that is the internet by adding more crap into the hole. So yeah. So Edgar Rice Burroughs, I don't know if you know him, he wrote Tarzan, which I suspect a couple of you have heard of, and he also wrote the Barsoom series, which you may remember because of the very, very questionable film that came out. I think it was in 2012. But he wrote several series, but his third best known one was called Pellucidar, and it was about two gentlemen, a miner and a teacher, I believe, who decide to experiment with a new mining device and accidentally drill to the center of the Earth, which, spoiler time, is not filled with magma and infinite pressure, but is in fact a temperate, sunny land filled with, I'm going to say dinosaurs, with a wonderful flair for consistency. Burroughs includes awe-evoking creatures from, I counted at least 12 different geological epochs, although I am not an expert in paleontology. But yeah, and it's a very interesting book. I picked it because I have always loved dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, and a couple other things were some of the things that got me into religion way back in my teens, and they were some of the things that got Burroughs out of religion, amusingly enough, which we see several times in the series, so I figured it would be a good introduction to his work for myself, and I guess for you if you're lazy enough to be lazy? Yeah, what do you call it when you're just wasting time watching crap on the internet? We need a good word for that, but yeah, watching stuff on the old internet. But no. So yeah. So as I mentioned, the novel's about two gents. They go to the Earth. They find it is full of dinosaurs and mammoths and crap like that, and that it is ruled by a race of intelligent lizard people. Because our buddy Burroughs had predicted David Icke a century before Icke had predicted Icke. But no. And once there, they are captured and enslaved. Again, I'm just not going to apologize because we're doing spoilers all the way through here, and they then have to escape. So rather clearly, it's an adventure novel. It's intended for young boys and men. It was one of several novels published at the time in the same genre. Although Jules Verne and Arthur Conan Doyle are the more better known examples of the genre. Although, does anyone still read Arthur Doyle's The Lost World? Whatever. And so it is, as you might expect, it is full of dashing escapes and hypnotic magic and hideous monsters and everything that a young gent will love. Although it's interesting because it's not actually a violent book in the sense which we might think of George R.R. Martin's books as violent. Like he mentions and then we had to fight off this cave bear, but then he just sort of glosses over the fight with the cave bear because the primary or plot of the story, other than of course their escape from the evil lizard-like the reptilians, i.e. the Mahars, is romance, which may take some of you by surprise. Romance is not usually considered something men like, mostly because we've diluted the extensive genre of male romances which go all the way back to the chivalric novels of the medieval ages, with such classics as Lancelot and Guinevere being the more noticeable, although you have hundreds of novels all the way down through Shakespeare and into the pulp fiction adventure novels of Burroughs and Merritt and all his buddy contemporaries. Um, yeah, since I'd like to highlight an aspect of the book that I found the most interesting, because I think, in my experience, that tends to be what I like in an interview, rather than just an overview of the plot. I make it like the writing's only noticeable if it's really bad, or if the characters are evil and aren't supposed to be evil, or something like that. But I mention this because the romantic plot is between one of the main character, David Innes, and his savage caveman beau, Diane the Beautiful. And for people who are sitting there rubbing the area between their pants and wondering what exactly does he mean by beautiful, the answer, Burroughs lived in a more chaste time than us in our wonderful proclivities, and he generally avoids getting too explicit on that, which is nice because it's good to read non-sexual romances. You don't see a lot of those nowadays. But we're not told about too much. We're told that Diane is slim, that she has a pretty face, where his references to her raven black hair are positively Homeric, if anyone is familiar with the wine Dark Sea, as it often gets brought up in the novel. But as a character, she herself is limited more to her personality and to her actions and her relationship with Inns. And we are not given the size of her breasts, which is lovely. But no. Sorry for that segue, but as it were. Boy, this is already like 5 minutes longer than I thought it would be. I always lose track of the time. I figured it would be like me giving a 2-minute overview, and here I am lecturing for 8 minutes on woman in literature. But I just mention this because you really men's romances have really been pushed out of the market, and so it's interesting that, barring of course their attempts to escape from slavery, most of the novel is actually concerned with Inn's attempts to get back to Diane after they are separated early in the novel. They're separated 30 pages in, so haven't spoiled too much there. And his attempts, furthermore, here's the real spoiler if you want to plug your ears, his attempts furthermore to win her love, because Burroughs believed very fervently that love is expressed in acts, not in feelings, and so Inns has to, spoiler time again, slay a hideous giant for the right to win his love, which is very... I'm not going to say it's sweet, because people scratch their heads at that one, but it's very inspiring, because, well, if you ever end up reading any other criticisms, you'll notice it is a largely characteristic example of the damsel in distress plot. Diane is a competent soldier in her own way. She does... I think she does... I'm trying to remember... I read a couple of the other books, and I know she kills people in those. I'm trying to... Spoilers. For the 5th time. And I'm trying to remember if she does in this, but she does spend much of the novel entrapped by a variety of illustrious named figures, be it Huja the Sly One, or the Jubal the Ugly One, or the Sagoths, the hideous gorilla employees of the evil reptilians. And I will avoid making political commentary here. But as to those reptilians, those, you know, Burroughs ain't just speaking about the center of the earth, right? Right? But probably people who do videos on charisma are counting all the butts, likes, and crap, and being like, how can I flay this wild philosophy fellow alive? It's not good presentation. But, and there I go again. Ideally, I'll learn from this, and there'll be less butts in the next one. We can focus more on people's minds instead of their butts, eh? But no. It's just, I only mention this in spite of is that people, they do not like the damsel in distress plot, and so they've kind of, it's been shuffled out of modern literature. And in a way, this is a shame, because the sheer number of works with this plot testify to its deep felt need in like the male psyche to actually go out and save a woman through their love for her, and then marry and whatnot. And moreover, the contemporary popularity of these works, like people still read Burroughs and Doyle and Verne and King Arthur. And when did Thomas Mallory die? Like 1470? 1470? Something to that effect. Something to that effect. And yet, these books are still read. They're still read by millions of young men who just adore them. And I just think it's a shame, but I'll avoid saying more. Don't want to tick too many bells. But yeah, so in a couple days or so, I will likely record another wonderful video. I'm either going to do it on the sequel to At the Earth's Core, Pellucidar, or on Frances Hodgson Burnett, The Secret Garden, which I also read and adored. And maybe we'll do that one to freshen things up. So, ta!